My name's Dawn Stevenson, and I've been a training and development officer here in the Ambulance College for the last 10 years. During that time we've seen a huge change with regard to pre-hospital training, as well as actually what we can do for the patient out on the road at the moment. General public perception is that it's a short course and you don't really need to know a huge amount of theory, but there's an awful lot of theory, and that theory doesn't just end after year 1 or year 2, it's continuous.
When people leave here as paramedics, fully qualified paramedics, again we expect them to achieve a very high standard. They obviously must hit the FEC 2007 standard, or else they won't pass. They have a quite rigorous and robust exam process to make sure that the people who do qualify are going to go out, they're going to be safe, they're going to deliver a very high quality standard of care to patients.
The advanced, I suppose, had been in the pipeline for many years. I mean, we've had a number of reviews over the years where it suggested that it would have been largely beneficial. In 5 years, developed a huge, I suppose, remit with regard to what we can actually do for patients prior to getting them to hospital.
A student comes along and we normally have them for 8 weeks. Now, during that particular time frame, we would take them on the didactic part, which is going through all the theory aspects and also a practical element as well. We would develop their theory knowledge. We would have exams on a weekly basis, multiple choice and some short written questions. We would also have skills that they would have to develop in line with the Pre-Hospital Emergency Care 2007 standards. There are defined skill stations that they must pass at the end of their Module 1 and also their Module 2. So again, we prepare students for that. Now again, we're an educational establishment, so we don't just look at the skill sheets that will be examined, and we like to go for the full-rounded ambulance person, and that's why we would concentrate on the skills, the CPGs that they would need to know, and again, patient care, patient treatment is paramount. That's what we do business with, and that's what we want people to be able to leave here, go out and treat people properly.
The FECA, the standards body with regard to pre-hospital emergency care. Now, the development of the standards was a development in conjunction with both the organisational body itself as the FEC, but who created the standards in a way where the people that are actually operational on the road, many of the training officers that are currently in all of the areas, the service staff here in the college, the staff college in the Dublin Fire Brigade that have paramedic courses as well. All of those individuals were involved in the development of the new standards for, across the board level wise, and currently, as I say, the advanced paramedic standards, have been published recently as well to actually give additional remit to the advanced paramedic.
From a practical point of view, first of all, we have a NOSCE station, which is again in line with the pre-hospital emergency care national exams. Now, it's a very prescribed process that they must go through that, they must deliver something a certain way. For example, there's an airway station where they would have a mannequin head and they would have to be able to put an airway in, they would have to be able to assess, they have to do cric pressure, various different actions on that mannequin. And people know what they have to do, the student knows what they have to do before they go into the exam. And that's a NOSCE. It's very objective, it's very defined, and that's a good assessment tool. So again, we would use that as one process. We'd also use skill stations. For example, if we wanted to teach people airway management, we might have a skill station set up where there would be various different skills relating to airway management associated with that. We might have a group of students going for 45 minutes to there, then we'd move on to another station where maybe they might do spinal mobilisation, or maybe say using a glucometer, and we again would vary it like that. So again, students are getting to see things in a logical manner. We also like, as I mentioned before, a well-rounded approach with our students, and what we would like is, again, to have different scenarios, and we would do scenarios either outside or within the syndicate rooms, where we would set up a scenario. For example, here we made somebody falling down the stairs, and we would have, say, 2 students treating that person, and again they would be watched by the group and by the tutor, and they would get positive and constructive feedback based on the performance. We might take it outside, where I think you saw a car crash or a road traffic collision being performed or simulated, and again we might do something like that. We also have various other courses like PHTLS, which is a trauma course, or PEP, which is a paediatric course. which again we would use skill stations from that, again based on say trauma management, or in the paediatric one dealing with paediatric emergencies.
So it's not until they're completely qualified and 3 months down the line will they actually be participating in patient care, and that's after an 18-month period. So there's a considerable amount of time spent making sure that their skills are well developed before they're actually meeting patients on their own.
In some cases it can be difficult because one minute you're sitting beside your friend, you're having tea and coffee, and then you go up and then you're treating them for a heart attack. So it can be difficult to make that jump. But again, we have very professional tutors here, and they can create very realistic scenarios and situations, and that tends to work quite well.
The type of person, I suppose, in a way that likes doing this job is somebody that has a lot of empathy for people, a lot of compassion for people, because you're going to see people, at their worst, and in a way you have to realise that for them to have allowed you into their homes, into their lives on the worst day of their lives, and they'll remember that for as long as they live.